Okay, I thought I would do a jokey sort of pictures for my thumbnail. Just to be silly. Because today is a very special day video. Okay, so today isn't actually the anniversary, but today is Tuesday the 16th. And tomorrow on the 17th, Wednesday, is my 1 year Booktube anniversary. I have been doing this for a year. I can't believe that time has gone. Where does it go? I don't know. And because of that, I thought I would do a Booktube Anniversary Tag. And when I was having a look, there's apparently like two very similar tags, but one of them's quite short and the other one's a bit longer. So I've kind of just done both. There may be some repeats or a couple of repeats. So I'll either miss them the second time or I'll just quickly go over what I already said. So I went off of Book Lover Amanda's video because hers was one of the ones that came up. Hers was the most recent, and also she's a fellow Christian booktuber, so I thought, why not get the questions from her? So, she said, and I also don't know who the original creators are of either of these tags, so I won't be tagging anyone. But I thought I would do this. For anyone who's interested, I will link my first ever video down below. That was the Back to Hogwarts book TBR. It was a late one because it was like in the middle of September, like it is already, or ish anyway. So yeah, I've got a feeling this is going to be a long one, so I'm going to just get started. So the first Booktube Birthday Anniversary Tag that I'm doing is the Birthday Tag, and that has 7 questions. So the first question is, how many years have I been on Booktube? And that is 1. Question 2, what has kept you motivated to make videos? There's been a few different motivations. One is that I'm just enjoying them, of course, otherwise I wouldn't continue. I've enjoyed making, I've made friends through doing this. You know, they're all online friends, but it still counts. I'm sure there's other reasons, but I don't want to be here all day, and I've got a feeling that's one of the questions that gets repeated, so I will leave it at that for now, but there's multiple motivations. Question 3 is, what are your 3 favourite videos that you've uploaded and why? That's a good question. I mean, I don't know. I enjoyed doing one of the videos I did enjoy doing was I think it was my second vlog actually, but my reading vlog for When the Day Comes by Gabriel Meyer. That's the first book in the Timeless series, and it's Christian fiction. I really enjoyed doing that. I did technically do another reading vlog before then, and that was one of the books of the Bible. I did enjoy doing that as well, but I especially enjoyed doing that one because it's hyped this series in the Christian community, and I wanted to try it because it sounded like the sort of thing I would probably enjoy, and I did enjoy it. Not as much as I enjoyed the second one, but I did enjoy it. And it definitely makes me want to continue the series, so that's definitely a favourite video. Other than that, I don't really have favourites really. I've just enjoyed all of them. I guess another favourite is probably my first ever readathon announcement, TBR wrap up, and also the vlog that I did that came out recently. I'll try and link them either up here or down below or both. So I enjoyed that, but that's kind of more of well, it's all about me, isn't it really, but like more of a personal thing, because it's my first ever readathon I've ever taken part of as a co-host, so those are definitely joint favourites. so I'll count them as one video because it's more because of the topic of the end of summer jam mood readathon that we were doing. So that's definitely was a favourite time, I think is probably more accurate. Yeah, and I think, actually no, my other favourite video is actually my most recent one that you'll have seen, and that was the Q&A video that I did for my 100 subscribers milestone. I really enjoyed doing that because it was kind of you getting to know me. I got to talk about my faith journey and how I came to faith, as well as your usual booktube stuff as well about books. So that's definitely a favourite. But honestly, I love doing all of the videos. I've never really thought that far ahead of what's my favourite. And of course, typical me, I forgot to check before I started filming, and I film on my phone. So it's my own fault really, but yeah. I kind of said why. I forgot. Yeah, I've already said why they're my favourites, so I'll leave that. Question 4 is, what have you struggled with on Booktube, and how did you overcome the struggle? I've not really had any big struggles. Thank God. You know, God willing, it's been pretty decent. I've had minor issues, but I wouldn't call them struggles to overcome. They're more just technical issues that I had to sort out, like with my laptop, for example. But I think a struggle I have had and still kind of have is TBRs and comparing myself with the amount of books I read and comparing them not only to my past months but also with other people. And I'm not too bad at that, thankfully. Not really sure why. It's probably God, to be honest, it usually is. But yeah, I'm a slow reader, so sometimes I do have quite large wrap-ups of books I have read. Like sometimes I've read like 9 books, which is a lot for me when there's only technically about 4 weeks each month-ish. So yeah, definitely that. I don't know how I really overcame those struggles. I don't know if I completely have either. So yeah, it's definitely something that just varies, I think, and I think it depends on how, not stressed, but kind of on that, towards that sort of feeling where I feel like I'm behind on what I've read. And I don't know, sometimes when I have overcome it with some months, I don't really know how, but also I haven't completely overcome it either, so it's just one of those things. But otherwise, I haven't really struggled with anything particularly, other than what I said about the technology thing, because my laptop was old, and so the applications that I would use, like specifically iMovie, because I have a MacBook, didn't stop updating basically, and after a while it just stopped working, and it didn't stop working. I basically was running out of space, so I tried to delete my library in terms of what videos I'd uploaded and, you know, edited, and somehow in doing that I deleted the actual app on my laptop, and so when I tried to download it again, it wouldn't work. Tried downloading other things such as CapCut, none of those worked either, and it's because my laptop was so old it wasn't updating, so none of the apps were compatible with my laptop anymore. So I had to buy a new laptop, and because of that I had to wait a little bit because I needed the money to do that. So that was a struggle, but not a long-term one, not the biggest struggle in the world or the longest, and it was kind of easy to overcome because thankfully I got my money reasonably quickly, or I sorted it out because I put cash that I keep aside just in general if I needed physical cash back into my bank account, and it meant I could just about pay for a second-hand laptop, another MacBook, because I'm used to iMovie and I can't I struggle with learning these sorts of things, like applications like iMovie and similar. So because I'm already used to iMovie, even though it's not the best in terms of what you're able to do for things on your videos, I'm used to it. So I can't handle trying to learn a new one because I find it a bit complicated and a lot to take in. So I just stuck with a MacBook and iMovie because it's free as well. The iMovie, obviously not the second-hand laptop. So yeah, so that was a struggle to overcome, but a minor one, I think anyway. It could have meant I was behind on uploads, even though I still kept filming. So yeah, that was also a struggle that I did overcome, but you know, thank God, you know, I was able to afford to buy even a second-hand laptop, because even the second-hand ones are quite expensive, especially because you're buying a MacBook. So yeah, that was definitely a struggle. Question 5. Yeah, what's one moment in the past year on Booktube that you would like to relive? And I don't know. I'm not sure. Maybe something to do with lives, doing live sprints. I had my first one ever with Lucia I don't know how many months ago now, but months ago, and that was cool. That was cool, all being asked for my first ever readathon. But I'm the sort of person that would always be honoured and pleased and enjoy however many times I would be asked to go on a live or, you know, co-host a readathon or whatever. So even though it's cool to relive them, I don't necessarily feel like I need to, because I never expect to do those things with other people necessarily, especially because I live in England and most of the people I follow are all in America. I think 1 or 2 are in Canada, so I don't expect to be able to do things like that. In terms of the lives, obviously the readathon thing, that doesn't matter as much unless you're doing lives to do with those readathons, like we did for at the end of Summer Jam Mood Readathon. So yeah, I would say probably the lives and my first ever co-hosting of a readathon are probably things that would be cool to relive. Because obviously you only get your first one of either of those once. So yeah, I would say those. Question 6, what is the best book you read in your first year of Booktube? Well, any of you who have been on here a while already know I struggle with having best books or favourites, really. I usually have multiples, and they're usually multiples in shorter terms, so like they're all equally my favourites for different reasons because they're different books. But I think in terms of whether something was, I think if I had to pick one, no, and it's a more recent one to be fair, but it's still within the 1 year, so I'll count it, and that was Tress of the Emerald Sea by Brandon Sanderson. I'll probably put the picture up here. I know I could have gone to get it, but I can't be bothered. That one is probably one that would definitely be a contender for the best book, because it's the first shit start of this year, 2025. Don't know about 2024 though, but obviously I started quite late on as well in 2024 because it was September. But also it's the only book I ever remember wanting to reread pretty much straight away after reading it, and I'm not a big rereader of books, certainly not voluntarily. I have reread books for different reasons, like with the first 3 books around the Green Gables. That was because we did Year of Maud this year, starting January, and I'd already read the first 3, so I reread those, but that's because I'm sure I didn't have to, but I felt like I had to, quote unquote, because of that. And also the Hunger Games original trilogy, I reread the first 2 and reread the first half of the 3rd one, then continued with the rest of the 3rd book. But though the Hunger Games ones have been about over 10 years since I've read them, I can't remember, because it started coming out in 2008, didn't they? Yeah, I guess that kind of makes sense. Yeah, a little over 10 years. Not much, because they came out 2008. But yeah, usually I tend not to reread them, and it's not. I did want to reread The Hunger Games, but if it wasn't, but I don't think I would have done if it wasn't because for the Sunrise on the Reaping book, I probably wouldn't have reread them, to be fair. So, you know, I guess they would sort of count for that as well anyway, I guess. But yeah, I'm going to go with Tress because that's a lot shorter of an amount of time than either of those series. So yeah, Tress is probably, if not the best book, certainly one of the best books. And question 7, and the last one for the Booktube birthday tag, is where do you see your channel in 1 year and what do you hope to achieve? Well, I don't know. I don't have specific goals. I'm kind of doing this for fun. I mean, if I ever get to monetize anything, that would be an extra bonus, but it's not. I don't know when that will be. I have no specific goals to try and achieve that in particular. So I don't really have any goals in that respect. I guess if you want to get into statistics, I'm sure I'll have more subscribers. How much more, I don't know. It took me nearly a year to get 100, so maybe another 100. If you're going, it might be more than another 100, I don't know. But I don't really have any goals or what I hope to achieve other than to just continue doing it. Maybe improving my videos, but I don't know, because some of that means learning new things, and like I said about the editing software, I struggle with that in that more technical way, and also having the opportunity to do some of those extra things that you don't normally do, I guess. Kind of. I don't know actually, but yeah. Just to continue making videos really is my main goal and the only one that I really care about. Continue making friends. Yeah, I mean, that's about it really. Yeah, that's about it. I don't really have massive goals because I don't expect to need them for starters, because this is a Christian channel first and foremost. So I know not to expect to get really big like you might possibly get to do if you're a secular booktuber or YouTube content creator in general. So yeah, I don't really have any specific goals. No coffee today, just water. For any of you who are interested. So that's the Booktube birthday tag done. I'm now going to answer the question for the Booktube anniversary tag. Some of these questions are similar. So yeah, let's have a look. So question 1, what anniversary are you celebrating? My first anniversary. Question 2, what genre or genres does your channel focus on? And it's a mixture of secular and Christian books, and also within those categories, all sorts of different genres. I like reading different genres, so that's what my channel portrays. Question 3, what are you most proud of from on your channel last year? So I wrote that down weirdly, but what am I most proud of? Probably the fact that I've been consistent, apart from when the odd time where I'm like a day late or a couple of days late, or when I had those few weeks where I couldn't upload anything because of my laptop. I have been consistently uploading once a week, every week. The odd video I've done more than once in a week, depending on what's going on. But usually once a week. And I think that's definitely something I'm proud of, because I'm very good at being inconsistent with things that are not important. And not to say that this isn't important to me, but in terms of, like, say if you're working a job and getting paid, Like, that's an important thing to always be regularly going to every day, or however often, you know, you're working. So, like, other than that, yeah, so outside of things like that, I'm not necessarily good at being consistent. So, yeah, I would definitely say that. Question 4, do you receive ARCs? And those are advanced reader copies of books, so before they're released. If you don't know, I'm sure most of you watching know that. I don't receive them. I do sometimes wonder about it, but because I'm already a slow reader and sometimes I struggle to get through the TBRs that I put up for each month, I'm reluctant to get into them. Because obviously, even though I know there are booktubers on here that I watch who get ARCs and they don't always get to them on time, I have that pressure on me where I'm like, well, you do kind of need to, and that would pressurize me. No judgment on anyone else who doesn't get to them, but it would be an anxiety and a pressure on me where I'd be like, I need to get to this. And I think unless it was something I really wanted to get early, I probably won't, or unless somehow I change my reading habits and I'm able to read through a lot of books. Don't know if that last one is possible though, but yeah, otherwise, no, I don't receive them. Question 5. What types of videos do you most like to do on your channel? I love doing all of the videos I do. I love doing my TBRs and wrap-ups. Those are usually my non-negotiables, but I love them anyway. I love doing the tags that I've done. I also have really enjoyed doing the odd vlog. So yeah, I just enjoy doing all sorts of books. Videos, sorry. Books as well, but videos specifically. So yeah, I like to do all sorts. Question 6, what types do you like to watch? And again, that's very similar. I like to watch all sorts. I do especially love vlogs because I find you get to know who the YouTuber is, even with the sit-down videos like the TBRs or whatever. But the vlogs, you get to see more of their life and more of their personality. And that's always a joy to see. I always love seeing that. But I love watching all sorts of videos. My tastes in everything are eclectic. Question 7. Was there anything you tried on your channel that didn't work? For Booktube, no. For me personally, I did try doing 2 videos years ago, a long time ago. I wasn't even a Christian then either. I did try and do 2 sort of lifestyle makeup videos that I have now privated. So I've still got them on my channel, but I privated them. And it's not that they necessarily didn't work in terms of viewers or anything like that. I just was inconsistent and it just didn't work for me personally. And that's probably because even though I really enjoyed makeup at the time, it wasn't like a true love for them. It was kind of, it was kind of a bit selfish at the time. It was, I want to be like these cool YouTubers that I watch, and I want to be like them and possibly get famous and earn money. But even then, that wasn't a high priority. But, it was certainly one of the exciting things about it. So, yeah, those didn't work for me personally. But in terms of my Booktube videos, I haven't really kept track. I try not to, for specific reasons that I don't. Do I answer these? Yeah, I don't think I'm answering this in my other questions. But yes. Hang on. I don't even know. What was I trying to answer? Oh yeah, that was it. I purposely don't really keep an eye on it because I don't want to become focused on myself and on the numbers for my channel. That's not why I created this. Like I said earlier about monetization and stuff like that, whilst that would be really cool if that ever happens, that's not why I do this channel. That's not why I started. Because at the end of the day, the money, especially when you're first starting out, the money's not loads, and I'm not exactly expecting to get world famous. So it's not something I care about too much, really. So yeah, basically I don't keep an eye on the statistics for that reason, but also for mental health reasons. A lot of people, certainly when they've got really big subscribers and comments, etc., it can start to affect them because they're focusing on all of that, and it ends up, stressing them out, giving them anxiety or more anxiety, etc. So I don't want to put myself through that, not on purpose, because obviously they're not doing that to get those reactions from themselves with their anxieties or whatever, but I don't want that to be a product in my life, quote unquote, on purpose, because it's not on purpose. So yeah, I've never really noticed, because I've never really checked, because my goal is to just do what I enjoy, and maybe that means I'll try something and I don't continue with it. But I can't really think of anything at the moment that I've done that with. So yeah, I've been very fortunate this past year where I've not had that yet, but that answer could change. So yeah. Question 8. Is there anything you won't do again for this next year? And again, the answer is no. Question 9. Is there anything you plan to do more of? And I was going to say no initially, but then I remembered that I have decided that I want to try doing more vlogs. I'm not going to do loads, but I'm thinking of doing like a monthly vlog where I vlog a bit over the month and then post that each month, kind of. But usually each month for the previous month, if you know what I mean. So like September's vlog that I'm currently doing, I will upload that as close as I can to the beginning of October. And then for October is the beginning of November, and so on and so forth. Because I did enjoy doing it for the end of summer jam mood readathon that I did, because I thought, what a cool idea, my first ever readathon that I'm co-hosting, why not do a vlog for it? So, and even though I didn't do as well as I would have liked in terms of vlogging specifically, I did enjoy what I was doing, and I had that urge to go, you know what, I kind of want to do some more. So that's what I've decided to do. Whether I'll stick with that, I don't know, but so far that's what I'm going to be doing. So yeah, that's what I'm planning to do more of. I'm not planning to add anything else necessarily that I can think of. So yeah. Question 10. Is there anything you plan to add to your channel? That seems like the same question to me. Oh no, that's what I'm getting confused with. Right, no. I answered question 9 wrong. So plan to do more of videos. Well, actually no, the vlogs technically are things that I was doing, just not often. But I guess it is sort of an addition as well. So like initially I was just doing the odd vlog whenever I felt like it, either a reading vlog for one specific book, which is what I have done the previous 2 times before End of Summer Jam. But I do want to add monthly vlogs to my portfolio, for lack of a better word. So it kind of is the same question as question 9, but slightly different. So I'll just say that because I've already said it all already. So question 11, what challenges do you face or have you faced on your channel? So I haven't faced too many serious challenges, thankfully. I've not had any hate yet. So, praise God for that. I have had I think maybe 1 or maybe 2 weird comments that made no sense, and I didn't quite know what they meant. But other than that, there was nothing hateful or constructive criticism either, even, which isn't a bad thing. Constructive criticism is always appreciated if anyone ever has any. But yes. Yeah, I think the only other challenge is the one that I mentioned before, and that was when my laptop had to be replaced. That was the main challenge because it was the longest one out of the other ones I've had. Yeah, I think I've not been too bad otherwise, thankfully, this year anyway. Yeah. I think that's what I can think of. Question 12. What equipment do you use to film your videos? So, I can't show you, so I'm going to tell you. So, first things first, I use my mobile phone, which is a Samsung, I think it's an A52 or something. It's one of the older models anyway, because professional cameras are expensive. So yeah, maybe I'll get a professional proper camera at some point, I don't know, but so far I'm pretty happy with what I get out of my videos with my phone. Quality is usually pretty good, the sound quality as well, considering it is a phone, so I'll stick with that. If I get a new phone, I'll use that phone to film, but otherwise I'm sticking with this one. This one is quite old. I've had it for about maybe 4 years, 5, something like that-ish. So I've had it for a long time, so I'm sure at some point I might end up replacing my phone, but not for YouTube specifically. I use varying different things to prop my phone up, but for my, certainly in terms of vlogs, but usually for my sit-down videos like these, I use a tripod that I got off of Amazon, and it's one of those smaller ones that obviously you can fit phones onto. I'm not sure what it says. It has words. There's like a name called Metal Wires on it. I don't know if that's the name of the brand, and I can't remember if I'll be able to find it. If I can, I'll link it below. Excuse me. It's really useful. It has like 3 little legs, tripod legs, so you know you can also hold it together and when you're vlogging, or have them spread out so you can have them on the table or whatever surface you use. I technically also use my chest of drawers. That's what you're on right now. You're actually inside one of my drawers, because if I use the top of my drawers, you're a bit too high, and I'm quite short and I'm sat on my bed, so this seems to be just about the perfect sort of angle. And then I also use this for taking my thumbnail pictures, and this actually came with the tripod, and it's a little remote, so you can take pictures. You can also start and end videos with this, so that's cool. Other than that, I don't use anything else. I don't use an external microphone or anything like that. I don't use any specific lighting equipment. If I'm filming at night or it's particularly dark, I might use my normal lights in my home. So I have the big light in our ceiling. Well, our ceiling, it's my ceiling, it's my bedroom. But sometimes I've used that, or I've used lamps. I have lamps, well, I have 2 lamps, and these are obviously these fairy lights, but they don't really add actual light to the video, they're just decorative. They do have light, but you know, they're not to help with the video. But otherwise, if it's the daytime, I try to use natural lighting if I can. I don't really get the sun in my room most of the day until the sun starts coming in the afternoon, evening. So depending on what time I get it, we'll get the sun then. Sometimes that's why the video changes in colour, because of the sun. Other than that, I don't actually use any professional lighting. So yeah, that's all the equipment I film with. So yeah, let's get on with the next question. So question 13 is, what is one best piece of advice you can give to another booktuber? And just one of that, I mean, that's very specific, just one. I guess because I'm a Christian, I think definitely good advice is pray about your channel, about your videos, about your plans, and specifically in terms of, you know, whether they align with God's plan. I am not always good with praying before each individual video. I'm sure there's those people who do. I think that's a great idea, but I don't do that because I forget, to be honest. There's no other reason. But I don't know. I guess it kind of depends on what you're looking for as someone who's looking for advice, whether it's just a general advice because you haven't started, or if you're looking for a specific piece of advice. So I guess maybe the one main piece of advice, other than speaking to God about it if you're a Christian, is maybe just looking stuff up online, either on YouTube or just on a normal search engine, about advice on starting Booktube or doing Booktube or other specific things. I don't really know. Yeah. And I guess a piece of advice is always just do what you enjoy. Whilst it's always great to, listen to the people who, leave comments and watch your videos, so then, maybe if they enjoy something, you could continue it. But I wouldn't focus too much on that, because you want to do something you enjoy. You don't want to do it because you feel you have to do this particular video or this style of video, because at the end of the day, if you lose that enjoyment, people will notice that, probably, or at least at some point they will, and it's not going to make you want to continue doing this. And maybe you feel like you don't want to continue it after trying it, and that's great. But if the only reason you're feeling that way is because you're doing content that you're not enjoying, or you're not feeling fulfilled with, or whatever, then I don't think there's any point in you doing those videos. You should do what you enjoy and what you want to film. That's why my videos are a mix of things. That's why I talk about a mix of books, because even though I'm a Christian, I do still read secular, non-Christian books. And I know, certainly a couple of years ago, I just watched today a video by book lover Amanda, who's another Christian booktuber, and she did her 1 year Booktube Tag stuff, and she was saying for this question about, I don't know, what did she say? Oh, no. It's the problem when you talk too much, you lose what you're saying. Oh yeah, she was saying how some people feel like they shouldn't talk about secular books, or they shouldn't read them because they're doing their own Christian booktube. And she was saying, and that's a really great question. I thought her answer was great. And it's definitely one of those things. Do what's right for you. Speak to God about this, pray about it, and use your discernment about it. If you feel like, as a Christian, you shouldn't read book secular, or at least if you do, you feel like you shouldn't talk about it online, on YouTube, or anywhere else that you use social media for your book content, then don't. But like she said, you should talk to God about that. Like maybe you don't feel that way like me. I document all of it, and I try and talk about content if I can, trying to do it without spoiling anything myself. But maybe you feel that's not right and you just don't want to do that at all, and that's totally fine. Or maybe you feel like you want to get rid of those secular books, and maybe you might feel like you want to document that, and if you feel that way, you should. Like I saw a video by Whitney, from Whitney Reads, I think it's her channel name, because she did change it. And she did a really cool video. I can't remember if that was on her old channel or her new one now, but either way, she's a Christian, and she did a video on going through, I think, a shelf, or she did a couple of videos of a couple of different shelves of her secular books, and because she felt led to have a look at different swears, and not necessarily bad swear words like the S word or the B word, but things like, using the Lord's name in vain and stuff like that. And because she felt led to go through them and get rid of those books. And so if you feel led to do something, either the same type of thing or something similar, then you should definitely do that. And if you feel you want to document it, then you should. But, it's all about your own discernment at the end of the day, and I definitely think talking to God about it is the most important thing throughout any of these answers I've given on advice. If you're a Christian booktuber, I definitely think, at the end of the day, we're representing God on here, and we need to use our discernment and speak to God about this, and include him in this, because maybe we find out we're putting videos out or talk about certain books or reading certain books that God's not wanting us to do, but if we don't talk to him about this, we might not ever realise it, or we keep doing it for a longer time than we probably should have been because we haven't dealt with it soon enough or whatever. You know, it's all to the individual at the end of the day. So yeah, that's my multitude of advice, because I can't just give one. Advice is individual to each person. So yeah, that's my long-winded, as always, answer. So, but thankfully we're on our last question. So question 14 is, what is the best part of having a Booktube channel? And there's so many things. I've enjoyed documenting my reading. I've enjoyed all the friends I've made and answering the comments down in the comment section. You know, I've enjoyed, you know, watching people's reading sprints and joining in the comments, or the few times I've been on them myself on video, you know, because I've been asked, or I've been part of that readathon and the summer jam. You know, the fact that I've been asked to do a co-hosting a readathon, my first ever one, you know, or, you know, been on Lucy's channel from Lucy Chronicles, because that was my first reading sprints on video way before end of summer jam, because she was involved in that as well. So, you know, there's so many things, you know, and there's lots of things. I've really enjoyed being on Booktube. It's been just a blessing, really, because it was through Christian Booktube I found out about Christian fiction, because I never knew about that. So, you know, I've enjoyed documenting my journey over time. I still have majority non-Christian books, but that's mainly because, in terms of fiction, but that's mainly because here in England, Christian fiction isn't really a thing that people know about. And certainly with the people I've talked about anyway. Like non-fiction, obviously everyone knows about that. But like, yeah, like it's not a thing. And because I didn't grow up a Christian, and I've also only just recently found out about Christian Booktube in the past like 2.5, 3 years, you know, it's very new to me. So yeah, and also just the making of friends really is the main thing. I've really enjoyed, you know, having group chats with my fellow Christian booktubers, and, you know, just, it's been a blessing. I love it. I'm always excited to hear from people. I'm always excited when they upload, you know, it's just, so yeah, that is all of my questions and answers for the 1 year Booktube tag / birthday tag. I hope you've enjoyed it. Thank you for watching. Obviously, even though this is a tag, I don't think this is really a tagging video, like when you do the coffee and book tag or whatever. So, but if you are on or just Booktube in general, and you've been on for a year and you want to do this, go ahead. I don't know if you need to tag me. You don't have to. I don't mind. But yeah, otherwise, I hope you enjoyed it. If you do want to answer any of my questions, you totally can. I'll try and write them down below in my description box for this video. And yeah, I would love to know what your 3 favourite videos of mine are, because I didn't really check, and I don't bother too much about that because I love doing all the videos I do. Otherwise I wouldn't be doing this channel. So yeah, what are your 3 favourite videos that you've seen of mine? I'd love to know. And yes, that's it. I'll leave you to it. This should be considerably shorter than my previous 3 videos or more. Still a long one, but at least it's not an hour long. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed. Thank you for watching. God bless. I love you all. Oh, and also just thank you again for subscribing. I feel so blessed.